Hey all, welcome back to Fuzzy Ducks Gaming and a very quick new video on the channel going over my brief thoughts on the 326 expansion and the new league. Very brief thoughts on nerfs and buffs. Mainly this video is to go through the content plans I've got for this league and the build I plan to play. I plan to go in pretty hard this league. I've booked the whole week off after league launch because I really want to get stuck in to a new league. I want to get stuck into a new expansion and I want to get stuck into a new character. Let's start with the reveal itself. I was really pleasantly surprised by the amount of content that we've got coming in the upcoming expansion. A lot of it is recycled from POE 2, but I don't really see an issue with that. They've built all these resources, why not use them or reskin them if it means we can get more content into Path of Exile 1. In terms of the actual Atlas expansion, I think this looks really interesting. I like the idea of Zana coming back, I like the idea of new pinnacle bosses, and I like the idea of almost like a T16.5, the way they're doing the new maps. And if they're to their word, these can be juiced beyond anything we've ever seen before, which is really, really exciting. I do like the fact I haven't messed too much with the core Atlas, because I think with such a long league in Settlers, some people might have dropped it 7 or 8 months ago. They want some familiarity, and that's what they're going to get when they come back. You've got your normal E to Exile progression, but then when you hit T14 maps, then you almost get an expansion to the Atlas. In terms of the actual league mechanic, I expected it to be a very small one since you get in the Atlas expansion, and it is exactly that. You find some mercenaries, you can either kill them or steal their stuff or recruit them. However, despite the fact it is quite small in content, it brings something that's never been done before. You've got an NPC that can run with you, fight with you, and buff you. You've essentially got a mini aura bot at your disposal. Now, it's not clear how easy it's going to be to get them enough gear to survive, but I don't think anyone's going to be using these NPCs for damage. Everyone's going to be putting whatever gear they can on this NPC to give them buffs and give them monster debuffs. It's just going to be a balance of getting the right gear for them so that they can survive induced content. I do think there's probably going to be balance issues early on. I think they're probably going to be overtuned when you fight them and undertuned when they're with you, but I'm sure a week into the league, it'll all get balanced out. I think it's a really, really good idea. It's insane power creep, and I can't imagine it's ever going to go core. But what it gives people an opportunity to do is try different builds, and if it's maybe a build where you think it might be 20% short of what it needs to be, you can get that power back by using the mercenaries. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Love the changes to Betrayal and Katarina. I like separating the board from the boss fight. Breach changes in terms of the quality of life looks really good. Overall, in terms of the game, it looks amazing. I'm really happy with all of the changes. If we move on to the patch notes, it's a bit of a strange one. There's some really good things in there, but some really odd ones. The change to Berserker is a very strange one. It was one of the, in my opinion, worst nodes from Fresia, and it gets added to Berserker. Not only that, Berserker loses one of its best nodes. Hierophant got pretty gutted. Trickster got some slight nerfs. Elementalist and Champion, on the other hand, look really, really interesting. Golems have seen an absolutely crazy buff, and Champion is back to probably what it was before. It's maybe slightly weaker in terms of damage on a budget, but on investment, Champion looks like it could be absolutely insane. In terms of skills, Lightning Strike nerfed as expected, Ephemeral Edge nerfed as expected, Archmage nerfed, Ice Nova, Frostbolts nerfed. All these things were pretty expected. Hexblast Mines got absolutely decimated. There are a few outliers in there that I think snuck by, which I was quite surprised about. So Volcanic Fissure of Snaking is really strong. I'm very surprised that didn't get looked at when all the others got reduced. That's going to get a lot of playtime this league. The one that really knocked me for 6 was the Frostblades of Catabasis nerf. I was expecting the gem to get nerfed, but I was thinking it was more along the lines of maybe reduce the attack reach, or maybe reduce the damage by 5 to 8%, which is what they normally do, but they've essentially halved the hit-based damage, which says to me just one thing: they want it to be a dot-based skill. But I've tried scaling the dot damage on that. It is impossible. It's just going to basically be a skill now that no one ever uses. This was an absolute bummer for me because I was convinced it was going to survive in a usable state. So I'd already planned that this was going to be my league starter. I'd done 6 practice runs. I'd already done my whole build guide that was ready to go, bar some edits that would be needed for what I expected to come in the patch notes. And normally I'm quite good at predicting patch notes. I used to do Lightning Strike builds league after league, and I'll prep them beforehand. As soon as I got an inkling that build would be nerfed, I didn't, and hey presto, the build is nerfed. It did definitely take me by surprise the way they've gutted it. So yeah, a lot of work. I wouldn't say gone to waste. I got very good at running the campaign. I'm now like a couple of hours quicker than I was before. I'm now better at using my video editing software, but I am a bit bummed that I can't put the guide out because it was honestly one of the best guides I've put together. However, my build plans aren't changing that much. Instead of going Frostblades with Catabasis Slayer, I'm just going Frostblades. It's had a bit of a nerf in terms of the projectile damage, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. There's a few nerfs here and there on the skill tree that make a little bit of difference. There's potentially some cold passive nerfs to come because they weren't in the patch notes, and I'm expecting it to be that the node where you do more damage based on the time the enemy's frozen in your presence, that's gone. That's what I'm expecting from those nodes. If it survives, then I'll be very happy, but I'm expecting it to be gone. It's not the most exciting League starter. It's a build that's been done time and time again, but I wanted a build that I know I can get to endgame really quickly and it can survive most T16 content on a very minimal budget. I really want a League starter champion. My issue with champion is twofold. One, it's not as good as Slayer early game, and I don't think there's an argument against that. Two, everyone's going to want to scale that fortification node, which means everybody needs the gloves from Uber Eater of Worlds, which means they're probably going to be one of the new chase uniques in the game. I don't want to be stuck in that at the beginning of the league. I want to wait a few days, see what happens with the market. If champion builds are accessible for under like 50 divines, then I'll switch after week 1 from my Slayer. If not, we'll just carry on building up the Frostblade Slayer. What I plan to do this league is a extremely detailed league start guide. What I mean by that is it's not going to be like hour-long video. I want to make sure the video is no longer than 30 minutes. But alongside the video, I'm going to publish, which I've already done, a full run SSF Frostblades to level like 77, 78, which is when you switch up the build and get some uniques in. I'm going to do a written guide for the first time in a while. The POB is going to be insanely detailed with loadout so that you can basically select any part of the game and it will tell you exactly what you need to do. The reason behind it is I think the last few build guides I did, although they were good, I feel like there were parts that I was not happy with. I want my guides to be really cinematic. I don't want them to be just me talking over gameplay or me pointing at POB. I want them to have visuals, representation. I want people who don't play the game a lot to understand what I'm trying to convey, and that's what I'm going to try and do with this latest build guide. So what I did, I basically looked back over my channel, looked at the video that had the most likes and the most views, and it was my Rain of Arrows League Starter Guide for Crucible League. It had something like 180,000 views. It wasn't just the views though. Every single comment on there is pretty much, this is the best build guide I've ever seen. This has got so much detail in it, I can't go wrong. And this was when I did my League Start guide, I did a leveling guide, I did a full crafting guide, full written guide with like hyperlinks to all the things you need to find, and people seem to really like it. It is a stupid amount of effort, don't get me wrong. I'm going to be every night this week after work putting all this stuff together. But I feel in this sort of saturated content space, especially with people coming over from POE 2, that you need to stand out if you're a content creator. So I want my niche to be a bit like Pox in that if you come to me for a build, even if it's not the best build in the world, there is nothing you will be wanting for in terms of knowing what to do with that build, and you'll never need to seek external help. I also feel I'm really responsive on YouTube comments if people do have any issues. So we're looking to go back to very good content, but maybe less content. So there'll be a build guide, the leveling guide in terms of the full run will probably be out tomorrow. I will be bringing my Atlas tree plans out. And then also what I plan to do around the league mechanic and how I plan to progress my build in the first few days. That's kind of it for the video. If you've got any builds in mind, let me know. I'm always interested to try something new, or if there's a build you want me to look at to try and work out, I'm happy to do that, because I'm not set in stone that I'm going to start Frostblades, but it is going to be my build guide because I think it's quite a straightforward and easy build to play. Very happy to be back on the POE 1 bandwagon. If you want to see more of my content, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you like the content, leave comments if there's things you'd like me to do differently. There'll be a few more videos to come out before League starts, so I'll see you soon. Thank you very much for watching, take care, and see you in the next one.